So what do we do here at Heroic? Well, we help speakers and thought leaders build careers, sustainable careers, by delivering transformational speeches and by writing best-selling books.
Yeah, and I would say, above all, we help thought leaders do the thing that they love the most, which is change lives. But if we're being frank, it's taken us a while to find the most effective way to serve our students.
And not to mention, we almost shut down completely after what happened in 2021.
Yeah, we stayed strong during the pandemic. That wasn't a problem. Our team responded to that challenge beautifully. But then, in 2021, Hurricane Ida swept through New Jersey and caused catastrophic flooding in our picturesque river town.
And so, after years of building this really beautiful, safe space, a retreat center where speakers could gather to perfect their craft, we arrived one day at campus to see a total, absolute mess. So there was mud and debris and broken walls and furniture swept into other rooms, and the floors were warped. There were sinkholes. There was a water line 5.5 feet up the wall. For us, it was heartbreaking. In that space on the wall, there was a message, and it was a message we had preached to every student. We've got your back. And that was a moment where I think we really wondered who had our back.
Yeah, in the weeks after the flood, Amy and I we took a lot of long walks, and we had a lot of serious conversations about what was next for Heroic. I mean, we had poured our hearts and our souls into the space, into the programming, into the students. But at that moment, we really didn't know if rebuilding was possible.
And we considered if maybe it was time to just cut our losses and pull back. So after college, I got accepted into 2 of the top MFA acting conservatories in the country, Yale and NYU. I chose to enroll in the Yale School of Drama.
Which I would have advised against at the time, but we didn't know each other. You see, because I only got into NYU, so our paths didn't cross until later in life.
Big mistake.
Yes, well, here we are now. After graduating, we both began working professionally in film, TV, lots of commercials, voiceovers, national stage productions, and it was fun.
It was fun, but ultimately, the lack of control associated with professional acting and that lifestyle was not for either of us. So we both began looking for other ways to use our performance skills to make a difference in people's lives. For me, one of the ways I did that was by starting my own yoga studio.
Yeah, and I lived in New York, and I worked for a time in New York City before finding my way to small town life, where I worked on a book called Book Yourself Solid. And to my great surprise, it was a smashing success, and things started happening fast. I eventually found myself working as a professional speaker, earning $30,000 per gig, and I noticed how many other speakers weren't delivering high-quality performances. I mean, they were giving it their all. Everyone does their best with the skills they have. But it seemed like they didn't have the knowledge or stagecraft that would help them create transformational experiences for their audiences. Because people and organizations that stand for something, they stand out. They really do. Standing for something helps you build trust. Standing for something makes decision-making easier. Standing for something lifts you up when you break down. And standing for something, it makes it a heck of a lot more fun to do your thing, because you are on a mission to do something that matters to you.
So by the time we met and began working together, we both had come to understand that a speech has the power to change the world and the people in it, including the speaker.
Yeah, so working together to address this need, it felt like really the most natural thing to do. So we combined our knowledge of the speaking industry with our formal training in performance. Just as actors use techniques on the stage to create a believable reality, non-actors can use the same techniques off the stage to create a reality of their choosing.
Wait, you just said that really well. Say it again.
But we have to remember that serving this audience is not a simple matter. So it took a long time to find the right combination of ingredients to help them truly succeed.
Yeah, so this attempt to help thought leaders started with masterclass style workshops. So we'd work with our students in person so they can make real-time adjustments in their performances. You know, small changes, like emphasizing a word, moving a certain way on the stage, or changing the pace of a passage, can have transformational impact on the way the message is received by the audience.
It's always a lot of fun to watch these master classes, because what you see is massive changes in their level of performance, literally within a matter of minutes.
What I want you to think about is how much more powerful it can be if you stop having to put out all of these fires.
Great. Do you feel the difference?
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yes.
These in-person workshops really are transformational, and they kicked off the most meaningful work of our professional lives. It gave us a chance to combine our skills and our experience really in the most perfect way.
And then by 2014, we were officially a team and Heroic was born.
Yes, and it has Amy's cheekbones, don't you think?
So our next attempt to serve our thought leaders was to create an online course, and we were thrilled, and I think shocked, honestly, that we had more than 400 students sign up within a matter of days. But then working through the online material with them, we realized it wasn't going to be enough. We needed the magic of that in-person event to really round out the whole experience.
Yeah, and that's when we began hosting our annual live event in Florida.
Our live events were so much fun.
Yeah, we loved these because it allowed us to create a safe place for our students where they could work together on their performance without fear of being criticized or torn down. And they could create these incredibly tight bonds with other students, which would last long after our closing day.
During these events, I think one of the most important things is that students would see a whole new world available to them. I mean, they finally understood that great stagecraft was not just something for the rare few. It's not a thing that some can do and some just can't.
Yeah.
It's an actual craft you can learn.
And for Heroic, we saw how the online programs gave our students the foundational knowledge they needed to then come together in person for those transformational experiences.
I think realizing this also gave us the confidence that we needed to take those next big steps to build the Heroic community and expand its reach. So with the next iteration, we wanted to focus on helping our students develop and then perfect their on-stage experiences.
There was just one problem.
Yes. So many of our students showed up with absolutely no content to perform.
That's right, nothing. It turns out that many of them would fall back on their expert knowledge of a topic. You know, they'd pull together some slides and, they'd rough outline it, and then they just wing it once they were on stage.
But the thing is, it's practically impossible to hone and perfect an onstage performance if you don't have at least some sort of a script that you follow every single time. You actually can't improve something that you can't reliably repeat.
Yeah, it would be like the cast of Hamilton coming up with new lines for every performance.
Yeah.
It'd be ridiculous. So it became clear that we needed to help our students on a deeper level.
So we quickly changed course, and we pulled together content and resources and helped that group of speakers not just with their performance, but also with their ideation and their content development and their script writing. And this process creates more emotional security for the performer. And then they're able to play more on stage. Their performance becomes more fully expressed.
Yeah, and the more you play, the more fun you have. And look, the audience is never going to have more fun than the speaker is having.
So Heroic's speech development and performance program has gone through many iterations over the last 10 years, and we're constantly making adjustments to better serve our students.
Yeah, and they let us know when they need more. I remember one time when a group of our graduates asked, what's next after this program? And we said, well, nothing. You're done. And then they banded together, they sat us down and they said, no, we're not done yet. We need you to create something more for us. And here's what we think you should do.
I think that's when we started to really understand that Heroic had grown so much larger than just the two of us.
Yeah.
And we needed to do even more to serve this larger community.
Yeah, so for instance, we began to recognize that our speakers were leaving our program with beautifully written and performed speeches, but they didn't have a solid understanding of the business of speaking, because most of what they find online is either dead wrong or not exactly wrong, but not really right either.
I think we also saw how many of our students were struggling to pull together all of their own intellectual property into books that they could then market to help spread their messages.
Yeah, and then more and more students were asking for an alumni community, so we built that because they wanted to benefit from continued support and guidance from our team.
It was at this point that we realized it was time to pull in some reinforcements.
Yeah, we wanted to build the Berklee College of Music for the thought leadership space, a real educational institution for people who want to be the best at what they do. This way, we could help our students develop their IP, book and deliver transformational speeches, write books, and learn how to sell tons of them. And it was clear that we needed some help. So the Heroic family began to grow in a really big way.
Yep. So we partnered with two incredible talents, a top keynote speaker and author who's the best you can find when it comes to the business of speaking, along with the most respected writing teacher in the industry to help our students write their scripts and their books. And then we brought in dozens of performance coaches trained in the art of onstage delivery, business coaches who can work closely with our students who want to grow a sustainable business, writing coaches to work one-on-one on speeches and on books,
Instructional designers to build new online and in-person programs, process experts, experiential design experts, community managers, and more.
I think we brought in every person we could think of who could help up-level the quality of what Heroic can offer.
Yeah, so Heroic doesn't just help speakers develop and perform their speeches. Now we have specific program tracks to help thought leaders of all kinds, visionaries, entrepreneurs, mission-driven leaders, executives, and public figures. They refine their message and they transform it into the resources that will grow their businesses.
So I think when we think back to those days immediately after the flood, in a way, we almost feel thankful for all of that heartbreak and devastation, because we saw the Heroic community pull together in a really amazing way. And there was an outpouring of love and support from all of our alumni, which gave us the courage to rebuild stronger than before.
In fact, we were up and running in our new space within just 5 weeks. So, in many ways, that experience, it was a catalyst for the changes in Heroic that you see today. And the extended programs are a direct answer to what our students told us they needed.
Because really, it is the students who are the heart and soul of what Heroic is today.
Yeah, they've turned Heroic into a place of intense energy and creativity. Because we built it on a foundation of creative and intellectual excellence. With its long-standing commitments to community and integrity, it is the ideal laboratory in which to build your signature intellectual property, prepare to give the greatest speeches of your life, and write books that are revered and dog-eared.
So this company started as our dream together, but now long after we're gone, the Heroic community will endure and flourish to continue serving thought leaders around the world.
Because together, we can do a lot more than we can alone.